Hello, you guys. Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we're going to be talking about a fun topic, a necessary topic, a deep topic, a transformative topic, a topic of all topics. We're going to be talking about how we, as Christians, deal with setbacks, disappointments, hardships, obstacles, all of the above.
Pretty much we're going to share what's going on in our life right now and try to encourage you inside of it.
Hardships, obstacles, setbacks. But there's an incredible, an actually incredible silver lining to all these things. Mm-hmm. And so this is not like a pity party at all. This is actually
This is what we're learning through experiencing some setbacks, and we're going to kind of let y'all behind the curtains of kind of some of the stuff that's been going on with our renovation.
Yes.
Yeah. But before we jump into it, I do want to thank our sponsor, Hillsdale. You guys have heard us talk about them before, but we are loving their free online classes. I actually just wrapped up listening to lesson 4. We're going through this course right now called Ancient Christianity. And I'm telling you guys, if you are visual learners like I am, this course is incredible because when I tell you that they literally open scripture and they're underlining things for you, and that's so fun for me because y'all know that I'm such a highlight girl. So to have the course up and then also have my Bible and be like, wow, I literally have read this text a million times and I've never pulled that from it. And then the way that they explain who Jesus is, but in the context of biblical history and what was actually going on in the ancient times, I feel like it's just been really transformational for me inside of reading my scripture, and it's just a really incredible way to dive in and learn more. And so we're gonna have Hillsdale linked below. It's hillsdale.edu/masters. You can go through the course with us that we're loving, which is Ancient Christianity. But honestly, they have so many courses. So if you're particularly interested in one thing over the other, I love that you have the flexibility to just dive in and learn so much in a way that is just a little bit different. So for me, I just love being able to watch a video and someone explain something to me that I would have never pulled from the text myself. And so again, we'll have that link below. They're all free courses, so literally it's a no-lose situation. You just get rich wisdom from it. So
yeah, it makes me think of whenever my dad, my brother, and me would have chicken wing eating contests at a restaurant, and there was always a specific rule, and the rule was you got to take it to the bone. And if you ate in a certain way and then you left some, they're like, hey, there's more meat on that bone. And
it's
I think
100% me when I eat wings.
And that's 100% us when we've been reading the Bible and then watching these courses from Hillsdale and realizing, there's a lot more meat on the bone.
There.
Anyways.
That I did not pick up on.
Go check that out. So people have been wanting updates, house reno, what's going on.
We thought we'd be in the newly renovated house by now, and we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, and we just got some extra details maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, that we could be 10 months away from starting.
10 months away from even starting.
So obviously that brings some stuff up within us where there's, the feeling of being let down, unmet expectations, wondering what's going on, there being confusion or lack of clarity. And you all know this, but whenever you get pressed, you see what you're made of. Mm-hmm. And I feel each time that we are pressed, we see some stuff that we're actually kind of proud of. We're oh wow, we really dug our heels in faith. But then there's also some stuff that we see that we don't like, where we're ooh. And I think we all deal with hardships and obstacles of many kinds. That's what it tells us in James chapter 1. And it tells us also to remain steadfast when you face trials of many kinds. Because right now, what we're going through pales in comparison to what's happening in the world right now. It literally seems so small compared to what else is happening. Yeah. But again, it's remain steadfast when you face trials of many kind. Because why? Because now we have a chance to grow in our perseverance. Mm-hmm. And that whole chapter in James 1 really lays out this beautiful, hard to read picture of what God desires for us. Mm-hmm. And as I've been reading through that, it's been hard, and I'll just be vulnerable with you. I'm not gonna lie, I want my way. And maybe there's times in your life where you want your way.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to kind of make life about us. And then when things are not going our way, we question God.
Yeah.
But that scripture in James 1 is very clear that whenever we ask, we need to not allow doubt to creep into our mind. We need to have full faith that God will do what God is going to do. And then there is this scripture that really stuck out to me where it was just like, remain steadfast when you are facing trials of many kinds. And I'm like, wow, okay. So
first off, we're going
to face trials of many kinds. So check. But then what? And so then I was like, wow. And we've talked about this before, but we experience it in a new shape and form every single season that we're in. We have a chance to be more sanctified into his image.
Yeah. God
is using obstacles, hardships, trials of many kinds to sanctify us into his image, because that's what he cares about.
Yeah.
God is not saying in that scripture, hey, do all these things and you'll be rich, you'll live forever, you'll never have any issues, and you'll live a comfortable life forever.
Yeah.
No, it says when you face trials of many kinds, I will do something for you that you can't do for yourself.
And
that
says,
the world,
count it all joy.
Yeah, count it all joy. Something that you can't do for yourself.
Yeah.
Through worldly measures. And so I took on a whole new look at some of these things that we've been kind of put on our plate in front of us. So instead of me saying, woe is me, like I can't believe this is happening, I'm asking myself questions like, okay, well, what is God doing? Because I know for a fact
He's doing something.
So I need to ask him, God, what are you doing right here, right now? That's from Paul David Tripp, by the way. And then I also need to ask, and how do you want me to respond right now? What would honor you with the way that I respond to this situation? Because like I was going to say a second ago, God cares so much more about what's happening on the inside of me than what's happening on the outside around me. Not that he doesn't care about those things, but it's so much more is about me looking more like Jesus. That's the goal, is to me be sanctified into his image.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I want is not that. What I want is a comfortable life. And it's hard for me to even confess that, but let's be real for a sec. There are seasons when that's really what we want. We want it to be about us. But then after reading that, I was humbled, and I was just reminded, wow, like, wait a second. It's not about what I want. And God does care about us, and he does care about what we want, but it's for his plan. And for his glory. Yeah. Yeah, so that was just something I really wanted to encourage you all in, to know that, like, we are so blessed to even be able to buy this home and potentially renovate it and all these things. And you have hiccups and you have setbacks, but who are you becoming as a result in the process because of those obstacles and setbacks? Are they pushing you further away from him to where now you feel like you have to control everything? Or are they pushing you further into his embrace and his comfort that supersedes your physical surroundings? And is it bringing you to a place of like, oh wow, okay, I really grew in that season, I matured in that season, I didn't get my way, but I was still content. Interesting. It's funny how I can experience something spiritually that will override my physical experiences. And so
and something so first off, just to give y'all, because I know we actually like want to tell y'all kind of like what is going on. So we moved in this house in May?
Yep.
We originally thought we were going to just draw up the plans in a couple of weeks. We were going to work with the architect, and then we were going to submit. It was going to take maybe a month, and then we were going to
get started probably
in July, and then be finished with the renovation before the holidays. And now we're mid-October, and they're telling us because of the septic tank that we might literally not be able to start for another 9 to 10 months, which is...
If you want me to dig in a little deeper on that just real quick, basically our septic tank is fine, but we have what's called an undocumented septic tank, where the city or county wants to protect their own rear end and make sure that we have a potential second site available for a septic tank should this first one fail.
Because we live in just an older neighborhood, and it's a really old septic tank, I think. I don't really know.
But it's in great, we had it inspected before we bought the house. It's in great working condition.
Fine,
the part that I'm struggling with is that they gave us what's called a CO. It stands for a certificate of occupancy. It means that we're allowed to occupy this land that we bought. And I'm like, we're living here now.
Yeah.
And so if we want to add a great room for a room to host Bible studies in, no TV and all this stuff. And, you know, if we want to do these things, what is the difference between us living here now and living here with that room? And that just kind of strikes me as funny. Yeah. It's like, but like, oh, well, if this one fails, I'm like, well, you're letting me live here now, and you don't know if this one will fail. So
anyways, it's super interesting, and I mean, we would be lying if we said it's not like a little bit frustrating, but it's pulled up a lot of things. And so Chad actually, and he then relayed the message, but was talking to a mentor of ours, and he actually drew this little picture, and maybe we'll like put it on the screen, because I think that this is going to be encouraging no matter like what it is that either like you feel like there's been like crazy setbacks for, or like you're waiting on, etc. But what he said for us, he's like, well, okay, right now y'all are in this house, which feels like a very long-term Airbnb, because you know me, like if you've been on this channel for a long time, like I love home decor. I love like making a house a home. I love it feeling light and airy. Like there's just things that make me feel like, oh, I just can't wait to be home. And because this house, we knew we were only going to be in it for a little while, like all of my decor is practically in boxes. We don't even have the right bedding on our bed. Like everything is just so like not us right now. Like this setup right here is probably the most us in this like little corner of our house. And so I'm like, okay, the Lord is trying to teach me to be like content even when I don't feel like settled. And that's tough. Like I just personally, especially with children, like I just want to feel like settled in our home. And so when we got the news that it might be like even longer, the picture was, okay, y'all are here right now, so like fill in the blank for whatever that is for you. And then on the other side of the page, like for us, it's our new like renovated house, a nicer house. What God cares about most is not this house or this house, but the process and how we handle the process and how we respond to the setbacks, what's revealed in our heart, how we handle what's revealed in our heart. And that's, I feel like, what we're like currently working through. And we've also just been really encouraged, because it's like, okay, well, we can't necessarily control all of these setbacks, but what we can control is our response to said setbacks. And so focusing on what we can control, and then looking to the God who is in control to be like, okay, Lord, if I know that you are in control of this situation, and you say, according to your word, that is capital T truth, that you will work all things for good in accordance to your purposes for our good and for your glory, then we know that whatever is going on here, you can use it. And so, okay, Lord, use it. And I think like having that mindset of being like, okay, yes, this is a setback. Yes, it can be frustrating, but I can control whether I lean in and say, I'm not going to let this steal my joy, because the joy of the Lord is my strength. And so we're going to like press forward with holy anticipation, knowing that God will use this for his glory.
I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Is using it for our sanctification. And
yeah.
The last thing I'll say, I don't know if you have more you want to say.
Go ahead.
Is because basically as you're sharing, I was thinking I forgot to say something, and I'm like, uh-oh. Along the lines of what we're sharing, that I probably didn't do a very good job explaining, is that whenever I remind myself of God's goal for me, not my goal for me, but God's goal for me, then I look at things and I respond to things totally differently. Because when I think about my goals, and then when a hardship or obstacle or even a small little speed bump comes my way, I feel like they're attacking me and my plans. They're working against me. I'm like a salmon trying to swim upstream, and it's hard, right? But whenever I look at God's goals for me, and I look at his goal for me to experience him, to enjoy him, to be sanctified into his image, to become steadfast when I face trials, to be loving, to be kind. You know, when I think about those things, I don't look at these obstacles, no matter how small or how big, and that's easier said than done, by the way, because of course when big things are happening, like what you see are happening in the world, that's much harder to grasp, but doesn't make it less true. I say, now I want to say, how is this a tool of God's grace and his goal for me? And so I look at those less as wind blowing against my face, but more wind pushing the sail forward towards what God has for me versus what I have for me. And so I think that's what I was trying to explain earlier, where again, it's a hard thing because to be honest, a lot of us want to live more comfortable lives. Like, let's not deny that piece of us. And that's a different case for everyone, but that's a real temptation for me. This was a really important reminder for me that it's not all about that. Now, granted, I do think God does give us seasons of rest and comfort and, seasons where things are going a lot better than others. I'm not saying that those things are the enemy of God's plan. What I'm saying is that we can receive, like what Tori's sharing, as things that are coming at us, we can receive them as a tool of God's grace to see how he is helping us pursue his plans for us and not just our physical little plans here on earth.
Yeah. And there's just so much in scripture and so many different stories. I think of even like Nehemiah and like building the wall and like the amount of setbacks that he had to like move forward, and it's all for the glory of God and like his purposes prevail. And it is so easy to just get like wrapped up in our little world and our little desires and like what we want and be flustered and frustrated when it doesn't work out. And y'all, we're preaching to ourselves here. Like, we are literally telling you like what we're currently learning. So I hope you don't take this as like, oh, like we're handling this so well. Like,
we're trying to learn
how to handle this well. But I'm just always so encouraged when we press into God in these seasons, because I even go back to like the sale of our house when we were leaving Lakeland, and it's like so easy for doubt to kick in when like we experience setbacks, and we experience another setback, but in the end it was like, man, what God birthed in us in that like short season, we would do over and over again, because we felt like it was a wake-up call spiritually. And if you can look at different setbacks in your life as like wake-up calls or like little reminders, like little alerts, and God saying, hey, wake up to what I'm doing here, wake up to how you can experience me inside of this setback. And instead of looking at it as like, oh, like what is going on, or it's an attack of the enemy or whatever that might be, instead being like, maybe it's just a little alarm clock trying to wake me up to be like, I need to see where God is in this. Or like,
it's not about being set back, it's about being set apart. And that's God's plan, is for us to be set apart. And so, yeah. Love you guys.
Hope our little story was encouraging. Don't forget to check out Hillsdale. They have incredible free online courses where they will dive into scriptural. They will dive into scripture. You will learn so much. It's hillsdale.edu/masters. It'll be linked below. We love them. Love their courses. Highly recommend. And we'll be seeing you guys in the next video.
More updates soon. Love you. Bye.
Love you.